Hey guys, it's Dr. Justin Marcagiani here. Today's video is going to be on zinc deficiency, the top 5 causes and symptoms. Really excited to go over these issues with you here today. Before we do, make sure you smash that like button. Really appreciate it. Put your comments down below. Let me know your experience using zinc and if you ever had a zinc deficiency in the past. Also, let's dive in here. So first off, what's zinc? Zinc is an essential mineral. It's very, very important. We need about 10 to 20 milligrams a day. Some people may need more if they need more immune boosting effects or have gut issues or have lots of stress. You may need even more, 10, 20, 30 milligrams per day. Zinc is very important. It has a lot of important benefits in regarding your immune system. It can help your spleen and your thymus produce T cells, immune cells, very important. That's number one. Your zinc also has a lot to do with your epigenetics. There's something called zinc fingers, which are really responsible for activating DNA. And zinc is really important for that activation of that epigenetics. Zinc is also a very important building block of our hormones. We need zinc to make healthy hormones. So if we have inadequate levels of zinc or for stress, you know, what that RDA, you can think of RDA as like the lowest possible level of acceptance, right? I mean, if you're under stress, if you're a high performer, if you want to be at your optimum, you probably want to be up to maybe 30-ish milligrams a day, maybe even 40 or 50, depending on how much exercise or how much stress is going on in your life, and also your health, and also assuming that you're absorbing everything that you're taking. So very important there. So immune system, we talked about the immune system. We talked about your sex hormones. Zinc is also very important for hydrochloric acid and for good digestion. We need zinc to make our stomach acid. We need hydrogen ions, chloride. Zinc's a really important building block of making our digestive juices. That's super important. If we don't have enough good acid, we're not going to be able to break down our protein, break down our fat. And guess what? We need good acid levels to actually be able to ionize our minerals. And yes, zinc is a very important mineral. So inadequate levels of stomach acid could definitely impair zinc absorption. So that's also very important. Zinc is going to play a big role with energy, right? We need zinc for healthy thyroid function, right? Without enough zinc, thyroid is definitely going to be impaired as well. I mentioned sex hormones as well. We need it to make testosterone for men. We need it with estrogen and progesterone as well. Skin-wise, we need zinc for healthy skin. Zinc's a really important building block for healthy skin as well. I mean, you can see there's zinc used in natural sunscreen stuff, and a lot of people, they'll do a zinc oxide, for instance. They'll notice improved skin because topical zinc is actually very helpful for the skin, but internally getting it in, whether it's liver or whether we're using pumpkin seeds or whether it's asparagus or spinach or oysters or high quality grass-fed beef, chicken or fish, those are going to be your top sources of zinc. So very, very important. Hair loss, right? So we see skin is connected to connective tissue like hair and skin. So zinc's a really important building block for the hair. And of course, when we have connective tissue issues, zinc could also be something that's really important for the gut and for gut permeability. There's one study I've talked about that's looked at post-exercise induced gut permeability. So someone ran a marathon, looked at their gut function, had increased intestinal permeability, took some zinc, and guess what? Intestinal permeability decreased. So zinc's really important building block for the tight junctions of the gut lining. So we need healthy zinc for our gut lining. And then also I talked about hair, skin, and nails. One common symptom of low zinc are going to be white spots on the fingernails. Now again, the more white spots, that's kind of more of a trend. If you whack your finger against something hard, it could leave a little white spot. So if it's kind of there chronically, that tells you it's probably a bigger deal. Now, what are some of the causes of low zinc? So we kind of talked about the big 5 things already, right? Immune system, spots on the nails, hair, skin, sex hormones, and immune system. But what are some of the big causes of it? So we talked about hydrochloric acid. We need zinc to make hydrochloric acid, but we also need hydrochloric acid to absorb zinc. So it's kind of like a vicious cycle, right? If one's there, the others isn't going to be supported. So low stomach acid, that's really important. Now, some of these things, they connect. So we need low stomach acid. We need enough stomach acid. If we have low stomach acid, that could be a problem. If we have things like H. pylori or other gut infections, that could also impair stomach acid because those infections have effects of decreasing acid. Of course, extreme adrenal stress can activate our sympathetic nervous system. It turns off our parasympathetic. Therefore, we can have less stomach acid because sympathetic activation takes our digestive juices and moves it more to the extremities, the hands, and the feet, and that can decrease acid levels. If you're taking PPI drugs, that can definitely lower stomach acid and decrease nutrient absorption. Of course, just stress. If you're under a lot of stress, you're going to be burning up those nutrients, just like if you decided to do some drag racing in your car and was RPMing it to the red line, you're going to be burning through a lot of the gasoline in your gas tank as well. So stress is a big one. And then, of course, just a poor diet. If you're not getting the key foods that are going to be nutrient dense for zinc, you're just not going to get the zinc. And if you're eating a lot of like foods that have anti-nutrients in them, right? Maybe a lot of grains and a lot of things that have lectins and phytates, maybe a lot of legumes and lentils, maybe a lot of raw vegetables, and you have a hard time breaking those things down, soy, etc. You may have a lot of anti-nutrients that may be blocking a lot of these mineral absorptions, whether it's phytates or oxalic acid. These are mineral blockers, anti-nutrient blockers, and those could also create functional deficiencies. Lots of sugar, chronic alcoholism can create functional zinc deficiencies as well. The more you eat crappy food, your body has to actually use nutrients to process those things, sugar, alcohol. So it's like a credit card with a 110% transaction fee. It costs way more money to use it than what you get out of it. So really important. And we talked about the foods earlier, right? We talked about oysters and seafood being really big. We talked about beef and fish and chicken. So a lot of your animal proteins are going to be optimal. Spinach and asparagus are really good on the vegetable side as well. Pumpkin seeds are going to be really excellent. Almonds too as well, especially if they're soaked and you decrease a lot of the lectins and phytates and mineral blockers, they're even better. So again, if you want to test for zinc, what do I do? What do I look for in my patients? So you can just look at how much zinc you're eating in a day. You can go to Chronometer or My Food Data, and you can just look at how many servings of beef and chicken and fish and oysters. You got about 7 to 8 milligrams of zinc per oyster. So I'm going out to eat tonight. Guess what? I'm going to have 6 oysters. How much zinc am I getting? I'm getting like literally 50 or 60 milligrams right there. More than enough, right? And then, of course, chicken, beef. I'll do asparagus. I'll do different things like that throughout the week. So I get more than enough, and I also get a couple 10, 20 milligrams in a good quality multi on top of that just to be safe. How do I test for it? You can look at white spots on the nails. That's a good indication as a clinical sign. You can also do a zinc tally test. That's where you take some zinc sulfate. It's a zinc solution. Basically, the moral of the story is the more neutral or sweet it tastes, the higher a zinc deficiency you have. The more metallic-y it tastes, the lower the deficiency is. So keep that in mind. If you're in office with patients, it's a good clinical indicator to see what's going on. You can also do different nutrient evaluations like an intercellular nutrient panel that will look at intercellular, not like a serum, like a zinc serum, but like a zinc RBC or a zinc intercellular like you'd maybe do on an ion panel or a SpectraCell or a Nutri-Eval. These are good tests that you could do to look at. Don't just do a zinc serum. You can also look at low alkaline phosphatase, which is a specific isoenzyme that has correlated with zinc. So the lower zinc is, you may see chronic low levels of alkaline phosphatase. That's on a metabolic panel. All right, guys, hope you enjoyed this intel. So top 5 symptoms and causes. We want to connect it to the root underlying issues. You may want to do a thyroid test. You may want to do other underlying hormone, adrenal, female hormone test, and definitely looking at the gut. These could be other big connectors under the surface outside of just giving zinc, right? Now, my favorite zinc supplements, you can do like a zinc lozenge, a zinc aspartate's fine. You could do a zinc gluconate. You could do a zinc sulfate. These are all fine options to do. You could do a zinc picolinate. These are good too. I'll do a zinc glycinate is fine as well. For gut healing, a lot of times we'll do a zinc carnosine is really good for gut healing. And you can do these in smaller amounts, 5, 10, 20, 30, 40 milligram amounts. If you go higher with zinc, you could create a little bit of a functional copper deficiency. Now, Mother Nature tends to pair high zinc foods with high copper foods. So if you start to really go over on the zinc, you may want to make sure you're getting some more copper in there, either supplementally or food-wise. But a lot of times you may have to go supplement if you're going really high. So again, this is Dr. J here. If you want to reach out to myself and reach out to my colleagues and stuff, I'm available worldwide for a consultation and support with patients. Click down below, put your comments, really want to know your thoughts, and make sure you subscribe to get access to this phenomenal content coming your way. All right, we're going to open this up for a live chat now as well. Not a lot of doctors do that because they're reading from a script, but for the most part, everything here is functional medicine improv. So let me see how I can help y'all today. Okay, excellent. Okay, what's cooking? Does zinc supplement cause gray hair? How can I prevent graying of hair? So zinc's going to be really important for hair. So is selenium, and so is glutathione. Heard a chiropractor say that some people are naturally immune to, we can't talk about that word. Yes, the reason why that is because the common cold cross-reacts with it. So if your immune system has seen the common cold, you may have some immunity passed on for other types of infections. Anytime that's better to take zinc or increase uptake. Not sure the question. If you have to take PPI Nexium for the moment, is there anything one can do to help a situation naturally? ACV tends to make coughing worse. Lean into more enzymes and make sure your diet's 100% solid. Yeah, you're totally welcome. What kind of zinc do you recommend for people with histamine intolerance? All the ones I just mentioned could be worth it. So the zinc glycinate's going to be fine, or picolinate's good too. Is there a good general test to take that covers levels of all good minerals? A good SpectraCell or a good NutriEval or an ion panel which combines the NutriEval and the organics are really, really good. Are chicken thighs and chicken breasts good sources of minerals like zinc? Yes, especially if they're pasture-fed chickens. Should I eat grains away from beef for maximum zinc absorption? I mean, I just wouldn't be eating grains to begin with. Like if you're going to eat grains because, you want to have a cheat, on your 20% day, right? 80-20, 80% right, 20% not, fine. If you're going to do it, try to do rice though, if you're going to do it. But in general, you should be doing 80% without any grains, so that's not a problem. But yeah, definitely do it away from it so those phytates and oxalates won't create an absorption issue. Great questions, y'all. Excellent. All right. You guys want to reach out? Information's down below. Subscribe, share with friends and family. Really appreciate the engagement. You guys have a phenomenal day. Take care. Bye.